Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Raw Rundown. This week's Raw, we're not going to spend too crazy much time on it. Nothing too groundbreaking really happened on this show. Just your stereotypical Monday Night Raw. So let's get into it. We opened up the show with CM Punk. Just cutting a promo. Upset. Obviously, we haven't heard him since WrestleMania, and saying he's really upset and pissed off, and the person he's most upset and pissed off with is himself because he knew Paul Heyman, he knew the kind of person he was, and he knew the risks in trusting him. And then Jey Uso also warned him, and so he just feels like a fool not taking that advice and not listening to those words of advice from Jey Uso, and then just him not knowing from the past. While he's cutting this promo, Paul Heyman comes out, and of course, you get Seth Rollins followed by Braun Breaker all coming out together. This new faction coming out to face CM Punk. And they kind of go back and forth. Nothing really crazy. I'm going to beat you up. You're going to beat me up. You screwed me. Stuff like that. Well, Braun Breaker just has this, look in his eye. Like he just wants to eat somebody. And then eventually they sick Braun Breaker off to CM Punk. And a brawl. A brawl happens. And eventually Sami Zayn comes out and helps. And Jey Uso comes out and helps. And they run Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins and them all out. Basically setting up for Saturday night's main event. A little bit later in the show, they make it official. It's going to be Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins in a tag match versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn at Saturday night's main event. Made official during the show. Makes sense. I have a very strong feeling this is where we're going to get our third man. This has very much the same feeling as the tag team match from Backlash France between Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and it was Solo and Tama Tonga. And if you guys remember, that was the debut of Tongaloa at Backlash. So we may be in store for our third man. After that, we had an excellent match between Penta and Chad Gable. Listen, if this Penta and Chad Gable feud gives me the Lucha Brothers versus the Creed Brothers, dude, I am all for it. There is not a tag team that is kind of up and coming and still trying to make their way that I am more high on than the Creed Brothers. The Creed Brothers are so good, and I will talk about them here in a sec, actually right after this, because they had an incredible match with the War Raiders for the umpteenth time. But the Creed Brothers are the future, and if we get them against one of my favorite tag teams of all time, the Lucha Brothers, oh yes. Yes, book it, please, dear God, give it to me now. Anyways, we had the Creed Brothers versus the War Raiders, basically the New Day. Ooh, and the New Day on commentary, which is excellent. Love it. Give me more. New Day could just chill on commentary all day. But the New Day are tired of facing the War Raiders, and honestly, we're kind of tired of seeing it, to be completely honest. And so they've been saying, other teams deserve opportunities, so they put War Raiders in this opportunity. So it's not the War Raiders, but the Creed Brothers in this opportunity. So it's Creed Brothers versus the War Raiders to see who's facing the New Day in the Tag Team Championship. Incredible match. They've put on 2 or 3 just bangers before, so it was nothing new that I haven't seen from these two teams. Incredible match. It ends with some shenanigans from the New Day, but of course, and Creed Brothers pick up the win. So, we also find out a little bit later in the show, because of that drama, because of those shenanigans, we're going to get a tag team triple threat match. They didn't announce when, but sometime in the future between the New Day, War Raiders, and the Creed Brothers. So that is pretty exciting. That should be a good match in the near future for that tag team division. I'm glad it's getting some life, at least. It seems. I won't speak too much on it too soon, because I don't want to speak too soon on it. We had a backstage interview. It wasn't even on American television. I have my VPN, so I caught it. But we have more A-Town Down Under drama. And it was pretty simple, pretty, just a couple, maybe like a minute, little thing. Basically, Austin Theory is getting tired of Grayson Waller's crap. And since Grayson Waller is such a great friend to Austin Theory decided to pay him the favor, and it's Grayson Waller versus Sheamus next week. So, gotta love that. So I'm very interested that they picked that storyline back up. We'll see where they go with that. After that, we had the Yeet Man, the World Heavyweight Champion. Main event, Jey Uso was now in our city. And, Jey Uso comes out. Crazy big pop. And he cuts a promo. Basically saying that, Logan Paul, you attacked me and you sneaking around. It's official. Saturday night's main event is Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight Championship. And as he's cutting this promo, he gets interrupted by none other than Ring General Gunther. So that was very interesting because, Gunther off the heels of a big win against Pat McAfee, just brutalizing poor Pat McAfee. And an actually really entertaining match. But it's interesting having him a little bit of that aura back. You can kind of still tell, especially against Jey Uso being the man who tapped him out. You can still kind of tell he doesn't have all of that aura back. Very interested. Basically, Gunther came out, said, oh, you did it. And that now that he kind of has his feet under him, he's coming for the winner of the World Heavyweight Championship between Jey Uso and Logan Paul. And he really hopes it's Jey Uso. So, earlier in the night, we have a backstage interaction with Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Paul Heyman. And Seth Rollins basically saying, because it was right after the whole incident with CM Punk and Sami Zayn and all of them brawling and everything. He was like, they probably think they have the upper hand, but little do they know I have tricks under my sleeve, yada, yada, yada. Seth Rollins is heading out. It seems like he's got a plan. But before he leaves, he gives Braun Breaker a task, a mission. We are not privy to this information of what this mission or this task is. We find out later in the show during a backstage interview with Ludwig Kaiser. He gets interrupted. Poor Ludwig. Sorry, buddy. He gets interrupted with commotion. And we have Jey Uso laid out by Braun Breaker. Seth Rollins sent him to take out Braun Breaker. They have a match next week. Non-title match. Braun Breaker versus Jey Uso next week. Yeah. Very interesting. Seth Rollins keeping the notion alive that he's not done with that World Heavyweight Championship. And I like that, gives us a good direction of where his goals and his aspirations are with this new faction. After that, we had a classic, a wonderful match, a match that even 10 years ago would just been even better. But we have two former Bullet Club leaders, members, foundationers, in AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. If you've been watching my channel, you know I'm a Finn Balor guy. Love Finn Balor. That's my boy. Love him to death. AJ Styles, amazing. One of the best in-ring talent on the face of this earth. Amazing match. Amazing chemistry. Amazing just everything. The counters, the attacks, the different move sets, just the back and forth, and just leaving you on the edge of your seat. Every move, every counter, every pinfall, you're like, oh, because it's just so breathtaking. And I don't know, man. It was very just simple. There wasn't a crazy amount of shenanigans. It got a little bit of shenanigans-wise in the end with the involvement of Penta and all of that. But besides that, it was primarily just AJ and Finn. And they just, they did the dang thing. And I got to enjoy it. So, thank you, you two, for the absolute treat. Yeah. We had Penta get involved, basically taking out the Judgment Day, and AJ Styles ends up picking up the win for himself. After that, we get a wonderful promo by Becky Lynch. I'm loving this heel Becky Lynch. I don't know if I'm the only one out there, but it seems like every time she cuts a promo, anytime she has a mic in her hand, ever since she turned on Lyra Valkyria, she's killing it. She's out here talking about she didn't actually lose, and, that Lyra's still trash, and that she's still, untouchable, and I loved it. I don't know what the plan for Becky is. Are we still continuing the Lyra and Becky feud? I'm down if that is the plan. Honestly, with this heel Becky Lynch, I'm down wherever we want to take her. So if you want to send her this direction, cool. You want to send her this direction, cool. I think the women's mid-card is the best spot for her to help elevate that women's mid-card like, the man can. So, I think she's in a good spot where she's at. So, we'll see, we'll see what happens. And finally, in our main event, teased throughout the show with promos of Roxanne Perez and Julia and Io Sky having little vignettes leading up to this match. We had the tag team match between the Women's World Champion Io Sky and Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez and Julia. Loved it. This match was amazing. These ladies are showing why, one, they deserve Women's Evolution. They deserve that PLE. And two, why these women in NXT are it. They're showing you. Because literally, Roxanne Perez, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Jordan Grace, like these women, I mean, even some of them who've been there even longer, Jada Parker, they're cooking. So Ruka, man, these women are cooking. These women are the future. And, I think it's basically just a given at this point that Roxanne Perez and I'd say even Julia are moved up. because it's been almost a month straight, I'd say, of back-to-back Raws of having these two women featured, and you just don't see that with NXT superstars who they don't end up calling up. So the match was great chemistry every time. I mean, literally Io Sky in there with Roxanne Perez, amazing chemistry. In there with Julia, good old Stardom, amazing chemistry. It was just balls to the wall. It was a fun time. There's even a point in time where even though Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, they've been through a lot and they have, an a complicated relationship. It's competitive, but they have respect for each other. They're high fiving and getting into Io's thing, and no, it was a good time, a good main event. Obviously, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley pick up the victory, and yeah, it was a fun time. At the end, we get kind of like a look between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Just Rhea Ripley kind of looking at her like, hey, like, we're cool now, but just know I'm coming for that belt. And I'm here for it, man. So we'll see what the future holds. That was Monday Night Raw for May 12th, 2025. I'm out of here. Please check out my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Patreon, all those good stuff at the Wrestling Companion. I'm out of here. Deuces.